welcome back to the Empaths Anonymous podcast. I'm Christina.
To me. I'm Danny.
Today we have I'm really excited about this episode. I'm feeling yappy today, which, well, no duh, bitch. You have a podcast. What did you think you were going to be doing? But just the content. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
yes, I didn't anticipate us talking about this so early into the pod. It was something we wanted to research, which we did a little bit. I think it was something we wanted to have a guest on.
Yeah. And I think we still can. I think that this can be like a deep dive into the definition of what gaslighting means, and using pop culture references. And I think if we want to have an expert on later, we can kind of explore it in a different way. Yeah. So I think that that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm. The best way to get into it is hot and heavy, y'all.
Hot and
we just
heavy.
Got inspired because Love Island USA is Love Islanding.
You guys, don't listen to anybody who says that you need to niche down and only talk about a specific thing, because Danny and I both love so many things. And one of them, I mean, if you can't tell, I try not to make it my entire personality, is Love Island. And just reality shows in general, I've always loved. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this week, when you're listening to this, it will not have been this week. And things will have transpired, maybe or maybe not. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But this week was a doozy.
It really was.
On Love Island.
We will definitely be getting into it. But
yeah,
as always,
yes,
we are 100% bringing it back to relationships with yourself, relationships with others, and sometimes what behavior can look like in yourself or other people that you need to check yourself on or distance yourself from. Yeah. So we'll get into it.
We will get into it, but first, what's in your cup?
What's in our cups? I can say both of us for the literal thing. We've gotten to the point now where we're drinking kind of the same thing. Yeah. It's definitely hard to open up a bottle of wine and only one person's drinking it.
That'd be kind of weird.
So today just felt like a wine night, y'all.
It did.
I don't know. Maybe because we're just going to get into the tea
content.
Of it all.
I know.
It does feel like a rosé kind of moment.
Rosé kind of day. It's really hot outside.
Hot as hell.
In California, in Southern California. So it just felt like a good chilled rosé type of night.
It does. What's in our cup is Aveline Rosé. Is that how you say it? Aveline Rosé?
I don't know if it's Aveline or Aveline, but yes.
Aveline.
One of the two. I'm trying to drink more organic grapes. I was listening to, this was a while ago, The Skinny Confidential, and they had an alcohol expert on to basically just talk about how all alcohol is poison. So if you're going to drink it, try to drink
organic poison.
Yeah. Yeah, organic. It's organic.
I do drink poison, but like most of the time it's organic.
Exactly. So I try to drink organic wine, and there really is they say tequila is the best liquor to drink. But
is it from the agave plant?
Exactly. But besides that, there's really no other organic options of alcohol.
No. I mean, I guess if you get really good vodka, that's potatoes, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, well.
It's also gluten-free.
We'll not get into the specifics of it all, but it's good. It's a good rosé. I'm not usually like a huge fan of rosé, but Christina's on what we would call a rosé tour. So
I love rosés. That's my favorite.
Is on a mission. The other day, though, I did have very, very decent sangria made with Malbec, which is not something that they normally use. It's not a wine that they normally use in a sangria, but I have to say, because it can be pretty full-bodied.
Yeah.
And a sangria is like light, it's fresh, but it
was good.
It was good, and it only took one.
Yeah. And is that the day that I said that I had the rosé that was super good?
The sparkling. Oh, yeah. The sparkling.
I downed that bitch.
Shout out to Akash Winery. It's my favorite place of all time.
We love you. Except for when you say that you're going to be open till 8 and you actually close at 7. And we're hungry as fuck.
Yeah. To be fair, that was the taco people.
It was.
Not Akash himself.
Yeah. Okay, so what's in your life cup?
In my life cup, I am treading water. I'm good. I'm managing. I feel like losing time, which sucks. And I don't get to do a lot of the things I want to do because of school. And just the reality kind of set in. But I'm halfway through one of my classes. Yeah. And seeing as how quickly the first 4 weeks went by, the second 4 weeks, I just have to power through.
Yeah.
The problem is I'm trying to excel in the class.
Right.
To get my GPA up. And so it just is taking that much more time.
Right. Because it's not like you can just be like, whatever, I'll just get a B or a C. Like, no, you want to get an A.
I want to get an A.
Yeah.
And maintaining an A is really hard.
Yeah.
Like last week, I didn't prepare the way I was supposed to for one of my exams, and it showed. And so now, lesson learned. I tested the theory.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tested it. If I don't read, how well will I do? Not great.
Not great. Yeah. This bitch is taking 2 accelerated classes at the same time. So instead of it being like a regular semester, there are 2, 6-week classes? One was 8, one was 6.
One's 8, one's 6, yes.
Yeah. So would you ever do that again?
Highly, highly do not recommend. If you want any semblance of life balance, then no.
Right.
Because especially if what you want to do as well, which typically if you're spending money on school and you have a plan on what to do afterwards, then it's pretty important that you do well. And because at least one of these classes is one of which I had to retake because I failed it the first time. So you can understand where like my need for an A is appropriate. So I wouldn't recommend it to someone who's not prepared for the workload, which is a lot. You cannot get away with not doing your readings. And if there are between 2 classes anywhere from 4 to 6 chapters assigned, you need to read 4 to 6 chapters. And if each chapter averages 20 pages and then you do 10 pages of notes on 20 pages,
that's a lot of reading. Oh my God.
And it's reading on top of like the assignments that come along with those readings. And then of course the tests, which weigh the most on your grade.
Right. And then one of the classes is biology. So you also have labs.
I have a lab and it's a lot online.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. I feel like I'm missing life. It's not my actual reality. I'm not missing life. I'm missing some of the things that I could be doing had I not been in these classes, but I have to be in these classes because this is what I chose. So long-winded story short, I'm doing okay. I think I'm managing, and we have some fun stuff planned that I'll be able to share soon. So, yay. It's in your cup, sister.
I didn't really think about it before coming, so I kind of feel the same as last week, honestly. Or whenever the last time we recorded was. That was last week.
It was last week.
Yeah.
We did 2 last week.
We did 2, yeah. Last week I said that I got a promotion and started the podcast basically at the same time.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm getting more into my groove with both. I'm kind of understanding why content creators and even just people in general get addicted to their phones. Because I've never had that problem. I can not be on my phone for an entire day. In fact, I'm the person that's probably not texting you back because I don't have my phone or my phone died or whatever it is. I'm notorious.
Tell you what, she's always on Do Not Disturb.
Am I?
Uh-huh. I don't know if it's intentional or not.
No. When I'm sleeping, yes. I've turned my phone on, Do Not Disturb. It automatically goes on at 11:30, and then it's supposed to automatically go off at 8 a.m.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to double check.
Yeah, because my job is so digital that it's like I would be getting email notifications all throughout the night.
Yeah.
And so I have to turn it on for myself and for also just because I know that I will be getting emails at 6 o'clock in the morning and it'll wake me up. So that's why. Sometimes it does stay on earlier or longer and I just don't realize it. I'm like, oh shit, I'm still on. I turn it on at yoga. Because you guys, one time it was so embarrassing. I was in a yoga class, which like is supposed to be zen and quiet. And I have my Apple Watch on. And for whatever reason, the sound was on, even though my phone was on silent. And when I met my goal, it was like, exercise ring closed. And the instructor was like, good for you. Good job. Like not in a snarky way, but she was like, yay. She stopped the class to do that. And I was like, oh, fuck. So ever since then, I've just always silenced my phone or put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Could never.
I don't know. I guess I just don't give enough of a fuck to let it embarrass me.
Right. But, I mean, yeah, you accomplish your goal. But if the instructor like made it a point to draw attention to it, I'd be like, oh, holy shit. And like I was already embarrassed that it went off. Thanks, though.
Right. Yeah. So now I always put it on Do Not Disturb. So sometimes my phone's on Do Not Disturb longer because of that.
I assume because you're just working and I will do that when I'm doing schoolwork.
Yeah.
Because I can't deal with the notifications from Crocs. Okay.
I know.
It's
or
just
sometimes we'll get in a texting.
Yeah.
We'll start texting back and forth. I'm like, this bitch needs to study.
And then the same with me. Like I'll do the same. I'm like, she probably got 100,000 people to email back right now. I don't even know why I'm talking about this shit. We try to hold each other accountable as best as we possibly can, but
yeah,
it proves to be difficult sometimes.
Yeah. But I'm having a good week. I'm really excited because I'm about to be jet setting as fuck to fucking Wisconsin. But
Wisconsin.
Okay, so we have so much coming up. We're going to Disney. We're taking her daughter to Disney for the first time. I've never been to Disneyland before. I've been to Disney World. So I'm going to be going to Disneyland for the first time. It'll be her daughter's first time going to Disneyland and California Adventure. And then when we come back that Monday, we're going to go see Ramit.
That's right. Oh shit. We do have
that's next Monday.
We do have a lot of fucking shit to do.
So we always try to stay a little bit ahead so that when we have these life things pop up, we're not like, oh shit, we need to record. We don't have an episode for this week. So we're not recording next Monday. We're not recording the next few Mondays.
Right.
Because after that, on Tuesday, I'm going to my parents' house for 4th of July for the week. And then I'm going to Houston to visit my friend. So I'm going to be outside.
She's going on a fuck about.
I am going on a fuck about. So yeah, I'm just excited. There's really no mentally, emotionally, I'm the same as I was last week.
Yeah. I will say though that we try to balance the workload of everything we have going on top of the podcast with a week on, week off system. So I will say this bitch has been on top of her shit because I've been locked up in the dungeon, as I call it, taking notes like I'm a fucking crazy person.
Annotator.
Yeah, like my life goddamn depends on it.
Yeah.
Meiosis and mitosis. Ask me anything, bitch.
Ask her about biology.
I got a fresh noggin of knowledge. The other day, my sunglasses felt tight yesterday. I was like, oop, brain's getting big. So I just wanted like shouts out for helping me with socials and
of course
doing all that stuff because I struggle a lot with asking for help.
She does. One week I was like, Danny, literally, this is what I'm here for. It's okay.
I can't.
Yeah.
And on top of that, when I am trying to do everything in 1 week, the universe is telling me to ask for help, especially when it's like technology shit, which is literally inevitable. Anytime I touch something technology related, the shit wants to...
I know.
I don't know what it is.
And I'm trying to get ahead of that. Like yesterday, I sent her this video. I'm like, look, because we got new software. We talked about that last time. And I already gave her a heads up because I was experiencing some issues I had to figure out. And so I already sent her a video like, look, bitch, here's a YouTube video.
Exactly.
We're going to have a learning curve. It's a great one because this new platform is so much quicker than Riverside.
And it's not giving us the same error.
No.
Thank
God.
My
gosh. It's so seamless. It's like you delete a clip and it just keeps right on rolling.
Yeah.
It's doing what it's supposed to.
That was the issue with the other one, which we don't have to get into. Just don't use Riverside.
Don't use Riverside.
That's the moral of the story.
If you want to start a podcast, I will be the biggest hater. If Riverside has 0 haters, it's because I'm dead. Let's just say that. Let's just say that.
It's true. If she could throw Riverside in a fucking dumpster fire, she would.
Yeah.
As would I. I would be right there behind you. It was really tough.
Yeah.
Because we want to put out what we believe to be excellent quality. As you can see, we're lit up this time.
Yes. We got new lights. We got foam covers. What else did we get? We got new headphones. So, yeah. Yeah. I realized I forgot where I was going with the whole being addicted to your phone thing.
Oh my God.
Yes, because I see how people get addicted to their phones or like how influencers have hard time with balance because I'm starting to get obsessed. I'm like, oh my God. You guys, go look at my TikTok. It's not linked anywhere. So I don't know how you'll find it.
Your personal TikTok, yes?
Yeah. You don't have to look at it. I'm just going to say I posted a TikTok. And it got 17,000 views. And the whole time I'm just like watching it go up. I'm like, yes. Oh my God. Work.
Yeah.
So, and we also had a couple Instagram and TikToks on our podcast accounts I wouldn't say viral, but they've been doing very well. And so I've been kind of obsessed with looking at the stats and the insights and who's watching them and what's the demographic. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Our most recent one, the Rob one that we're going to talk about in this episode. Guess where the highest viewership is coming from?
I think you told me this. Is it Florence?
No, I added that as a location because I chose violence. I was like, I want to see if your family and the people of your hometown are proud of you, because maybe they shouldn't be.
Right.
I'm trying to be objective about the whole thing, you guys. It's really a hard time for me. But no, the United Kingdom.
Oh.
On that reel that has, I don't know how many views now.
It's the one of like with Kevin Hart cursing. That
Yes.
one? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like 68% were from the United Kingdom. Only 20% were from the United States. I was like, okay, pop off.
Okay, across the pond.
Right?
I wonder if it's because of the hashtags.
Probably. But yeah, I already feel like I've talked into 3 different circles, but I'm doing good.
Period.
So let's, I guess, just get into what this episode is about.
Sometimes that's how you feel. Sometimes you feel like spaghetti. I always feel like spaghetti.
My brain always feels like spaghetti because I'm a Sagittarius Mercury. I'm always in the fucking vortex with my thoughts.
Am I a Sagittarius Mercury?
I
feel like the best guess is always to say yes. I have 100,000 planets in Sagittarius. I know for sure I found out my Venus is in Sag.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I do know that for sure. You have 5, so I mean, they're pretty high odds.
Yeah. We're just going to guess yeah. And if I'm wrong, I'll be shocked.
Maybe that's why we communicate well together, because we probably both have our Mercury and Sag.
Our noodles are connected.
Yeah.
Or spaghettis.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the sausage of it all.
Oh my gosh, the sausage.
Like the meat. Oh. Not the sausage.
The sausage.
Every time I think of that quote, which is from Eat, Pray, Love, I think of you, because it's from Eat, Pray, Love. American girls only come to Italy for the sausage.
Yeah.
The little old lady.
I do love Eat, Pray, Love.
Telling Julia Roberts to not bring any men's back into my home because I'm an elderly woman.
Honestly, it's for the safeties. So today we are talking about gaslighting, which is kind of a hot button word. I feel like it was the word of 2023.
It's definitely something that trended and I think started to get used incorrectly.
Oh, yeah.
So, which is fine. That happens a lot when something goes viral and you feel like maybe you've experienced something similar without realizing that it wasn't actually that. Or maybe you think that you are doing that and you're not.
Yeah.
So the whole reason it got brought on was because of Love Island and because of the behaviors that are being exhibited. Thank you. And I think that it's a good enough time as any to just define what it means.
Yeah.
And kind of just talk a little bit about how that can feel for a person.
Yeah.
Experiencing it or realizing that you might be doing it yourself and you don't know, which most of the time you do know.
Yeah, I don't think that you can be unaware that you're gaslighting somebody. Somebody has accused me of gaslighting, but then I realized that they were actually gaslighting me. Because then I was like, then I felt like the bad guy. And I was like, oh, well, I'm so sorry. I was the Leah in that situation. I was like, oh, well, how do you feel?
Yeah, we'll get into it.
The term gaslighting originated from a British play that was turned into a film. The play was from the 1930s, and then the film came out in 1944. It's called, literally, Gaslight. And the plot is about a husband who mentally and emotionally manipulates his wife into believing she is crazy by changing the intensity of the gas lamps within their home. Can you imagine?
Man been fucking shit up since before the 1930s, but wow.
Can you imagine? Because it's like there's no technology at that time.
Right.
So it's like you would have no idea. Like I would think it was a fucking ghost.
Exactly. That would spin you into psychosis at that time.
Yeah. And she was having an emotional reaction and he was basically using that against her even though he was doing it and fully knew the whole time.
The film itself, I think, was classified as like a psychological thriller or something like that.
Something.
Like a psychological thriller or a mystery.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
I would like to watch it. I don't know how I will do with the film from the 1930s or 40s.
Yeah.
I'm open to it, though. I've not ever really been like an old-timey movie kind of person.
Like a classics.
Yeah. I think the oldest film I've ever watched was probably Wizard of Oz.
Really?
Which, of course, everyone has watched that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like not. I feel like it's a very niche thing.
Yeah.
To love like old school movies.
Yeah. My grandparents in general, that's mostly what we watched because they like thought that anything modern was from the devil.
Got it.
So I like grew up watching like musicals and like the classics. So yeah, all of the old like Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals and like all of that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely open to it, especially if it's like that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. The movies without a single person of color in them, or if they were a slave. Like, yeah, that's what I was raised watching. It was great.
Got it.
Anyway.
That stupid lyric from Taylor Swift. I wish we could go back to the 19 blah, blah, blah without the racism. Bitch, shut the
That's a real lyric?
Yeah. There was like a lot of videos on it when the stupid album first came out. She's in some hot ass water. She's so annoying. I don't care. If you're a Swiftie, fight me. I will literally send you my address. I'm over her. She's a fake feminist. I don't care. She is a plain Jane white girl billionaire who pretended to be a country music star. Grew up in fucking Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? She just has lied. She's just a liar.
Right. It's honestly more on brand to say that she's like Amish. You know, like you grew up in Pennsylvania, not fucking like Alabama.
Right. The whole Twain, the accent that never existed.
Right.
It never sat right with me. I had one Taylor Swift moment, and that was during Speak Now. And can you blame me?
Speak Now was a moment in time that was iconic.
You know? And I was young and naive and impressionable.
Were we still in high school at that point? Or were we like freshmen in college?
It was like fresh out of high school.
Okay, like that summer.
Yes.
The summer between.
Something like
I
that.
think so.
I remember listening to it on our commute to school.
Yeah.
Me and Carmina. Shout out to Carmina.
Hi, Carmina.
But yeah, anyway, that's a rant for a different day.
Yeah.
Let's get into defining gaslighting. There are a lot of different definitions I think that you can find online. I liked this one in particular because I had never heard of it divided into the 4 groups. So via the South African College of Applied Psychology, gaslighting is the action of repetitively and often brazenly lying to someone to manipulate and ultimately control them and the relationship. Divided into 4 different types, which would be outright lying, manipulation of reality, that's a really scary one, scapegoating, and coercion, which usually happens over a period of time while the abuser is discreetly victimizing someone in a disguised or passive manner, chipping away at one's confidence and sense of self. Hence the manipulation of reality. Those kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
When you're trying to manipulate someone's reality, then you make them lose their sense of self.
Because then they're questioning everything that they know to be true. Because the other person's telling them, well, that's not true. That's not what happened.
Right. That's why they say discreetly, because it's very, very minute, and it doesn't necessarily have to happen in these huge blowout fights or huge moment of conflicts. It's small seeds of doubt. So by the time you've even realized that it's happened to you, you're already in the cycle of continuously questioning your reality anyway. And wondering if you are actually losing your mind. Because you know one thing to be true, but if someone has told you that it's not true 100 times, don't you think you're going to start to question yourself?
Right. And it's somebody that you trust.
Oh, 100%.
It's usually somebody that you have a close relationship with. Yes, you can be gaslit by an acquaintance or a coworker or something like that, but usually it's somebody that you're pretty close with.
For that specific category, the manipulation of reality, it's got to be someone who's pretty close to you.
Right.
Because they have to know things about you that they can use against you.
Exactly.
But yeah, I really like that definition because it breaks it down a little bit more. So as far as outright lying, that one's a pretty obvious one. And it's what we saw in these most recent episodes of Love Island, specifically with Robert. When he's in trouble, he's Robert. Kind of like R. Kelly. Robert and Leah, who I feel like is spiraling a little bit, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
When the new bombshell came in, Andrea with the other bombshell, Nicole, and Rob was like, he lost his ever-loving mind. And instead of being truthful with himself,
and
Leah, what did he do, Christina?
Okay, you guys, I feel like I need to give a backstory on this because we were going to talk about Rob in episode 7. Because at the time, he was America's sweetheart. Everybody loved him. People were already saying after 3 or 4 episodes that he was going to win the show.
He was golden retriever.
That he was golden retriever boy. And I even was like, in my cup, I was like gushing over, wow, go off, Gen Z. 25 years old, fully developed frontal lobe. You're from the South, but you respect women and their bodies and all these kinds of things. I had to delete it out of the episode because I was like, I'm embarrassed. Like, I cannot release this after he had this behavior.
Immediately after we said it. It was the night that we recorded.
I know.
And
it was
we
really
watched
the
that
universe
episode.
like, girl, you should not be putting so much faith in men.
Ever.
Especially a 25-year-old little boy.
Oh my gosh, how disappointing.
So disappointing. So let's create the scene, right? Rob and Leah gravitated to each other pretty quickly. And Liv came in and he kind of explored it, but very quickly was like, no, not feeling her.
Right.
Was very respectful about it. That's why when all this happened, I felt so gaslit because I was like, everything that he's presented so far is that he's a very mature, self-regulated, respectful, women championing kind of person.
Yeah.
Communicative, chill.
Yeah. Non-judgmental.
Yes, I thought he was a Taurus. Thank God he's not because I love Tauruses. He's a Virgo, which I try not to say that any astrological sign is good or bad, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
I have 2 signs that are very challenging for me because they're so opposite of who I am and how I go about my life. And that's Libra and Virgos. And I try not to have a hate train towards them, but I know that when somebody tells me that they have very prominent placements in Virgo or Libra, I'm like, ooh, it's going to be really hard to get along with you or communicate with you because we just see life and the world so much differently, which is fine. Everyone's going to have pros and cons.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get along with everybody in the world. So him learning he's a Virgo, I'm like, interesting. But so this new bombshell comes in and he goes on a date with her. They kiss. And I'm like, ooh, Robert, I don't know if you should have done that so soon. But he was like, I'm going to tell Leah. And I'm like, okay, let's wait for this man to do what he does.
Yep.
Right? Gets back to the villa. Crickets. And this other girl, which I'm not ever going to blame the woman in this situation because she had nothing to do with it. Andrea came in and she was playing the game the way she needed to. She's a bombshell. She needs to find someone to couple up with.
You have to go in there as a bombshell. You can't go in there as a bombshell like timid as fuck.
No.
If I were in her situation and it was me and Nicole, I told you this. I would do the same thing.
You have to.
You have to, or
it's
you
the
will
name
be
of the
kicked
game.
out.
Yeah. They prep you
voted
beforehand. You know you're going in as a bombshell. You know. And in that instance, she had no choice. They came in during the underwear party, which I'm like, interesting that was a theme. Okay, go off.
Lingerie party.
Ariana looked hot as hell. So I'm like, okay, thank you, I guess.
I live for Ariana. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So they come in there. He's handcuffed and Leah's blindfolded. And she said from the jump, they went on After Sun. And she was like, Maura was like, who are you interested in? She's like, Rob and Aaron. And who did she go after? Rob and Aaron. Like she said what she said. She did what she said she was going to do.
She did.
Kissed him. And at first it kind of looked like he was like sad or disappointed or I don't know. And he's talking to the boys and he's like, I really hope she doesn't have a good personality because that kiss was really good. But like, I know I'm going to be in trouble. So completely not her fault. They go back to the villa. Doesn't say anything to Leah after this date where they kiss. And on the date, I was kind of seeing some of these behaviors because he didn't outright say to her, I'm interested in Leah, so flattered that you chose me, but I'm really not wanting to explore something else. Or if you are willing to explore, at least just be, if you want to kiss somebody, I guess if you can kiss them. I probably wouldn't have done that. I would have been like, let me talk to them first before we like get physical with it, whatever.
It was so soon, which makes me feel like he didn't really have as strong of feelings for Leah that he led her to believe that he had.
Right.
I think that he was riding the wave and he knows exactly what to say and exactly what to do to make someone feel comfortable until someone else new comes in and he's going to look the other way and it's going to be the other person's fault.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up happening. So
Exactly.
after the date, he comes back to the villa and has every opportunity to tell Leah what happened, which is I kissed Andrea and I'm really, really feeling her. I'm very physically attracted to her and we have a lot of sexual tension. Because when you first meet someone, if that is how you're feeling, it's called infatuation, and it's called infatuation for a reason.
Yeah.
You have no idea who that person truly is at their core. So you can't really say that you like them. The same way he couldn't really say that he liked Leah.
Right.
But he obviously liked how Andrea looked and how he felt physically aroused and sexually aroused by her.
Right.
more than he did with Leah.
Yeah, because they went on a date, and like, how long do you think the date really is max? Like maybe 2 hours max, an hour? How long do they let them be on the date for before they have to
right? Because
switch
it's
people?
supposed to be 2 dates. The girls had an opportunity to pick 2 different men, and they did.
And he was the first one. So he had so much time when she was on the date with Aaron to come back and talk to Leah. Did he? No.
Nope.
And sometimes I wonder, like, how much do the Love Island producers interfere? Because did they prevent him from talking to Leah, knowing that it was going to cause some drama? Or did he just outright choose to just not say shit to her?
I mean, potentially, but that's like a lot of hours because it was daytime.
It was daytime.
When they got back still.
Yes.
And he was like, you could tell he was on kind of like cloud 9 from the date. And he
has
even
time
said
to tell all the boys.
Yeah.
You know?
He could have grabbed her right away. And I just didn't see that happening. And then it's like nighttime all of a sudden, and I'm confused.
Right.
Because now all of the dates are done, and everyone's back at the villa, and now all the girls are completely in different outfits. Like they've changed into their like nighttime outfits.
Right. Did their makeup,
suits.
did their hair, like hours have gone by.
And then that's when the 2 new bombshells are sharing how the dates went. And Andrea ends up sharing that her and Rob shared a kiss, thinking that probably Rob had ample time to tell her that that's what the fuck happened.
Because homegirl was on another date.
Yeah.
If I was her, I would think, oh yeah, he probably told her while I was on a date with the other guy.
Especially because he told me, I'm Andrea, right?
Yeah.
Rob told me, Andrea, that, oh, don't tell her yet because I want to tell her myself. And she would be like, okay, respect. I would imagine that you would do that right when you get back to the villa, you crazy person. Didn't fucking happen, okay?
Did not happen that way.
Then, for the remainder of the night, decided to speak to Andrea up at Soul Ties.
In Soul Ties, no less. Soul
It's
Ties.
a very, very intimate upstairs cozy place.
Because nobody else can see you. Unless you go upstairs where Soul Ties is, you can't see anybody in Soul Ties.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like in a pit.
Yeah.
So from the ground level, you can't see.
It's meant for private conversations.
Yeah.
Allegedly, they were up there for hours.
Yes.
Without a conversation to be had between Rob and Leah.
Right. Which is very inconsiderate on his end.
Yes.
And that's when Leah kind of goes up there, which, first of all, can we please talk about how Liv is the master instigator of this season?
100%.
This girl.
She's there to stir the pot. If nothing else, she's going to cause some dramas.
Some dramas. So she tells Leah, because Leah's a triple Leo, okay? She's fiery. And when Leos are mad, they're going to let you know. They're not as aggressive as an Aries, but they're going to let you know. They're going to blow up. Because this is a stereotype of Leos, but they like the attention. So when you're invalidating them and you're making them feel like you're not the center of, like they're not the center of your world, they feel some type of way about that.
Yeah.
She's talking to the girls and Liv is hyping her up. And, oh yeah, you should go up there guns blazing. Which,
go up there right now.
If you're a real friend,
say what you want to say.
Which, yes, I agree. Always speak your truth. But if you're a real friend, you're going to not rile your friend up even more than they already are.
Yeah. Because Leah just would not stop talking about it.
Right.
So I don't know if Liv thought that would help her to just kind of get stuff off of her chest. But there is something about Liv that I still have not been able to trust since she freaking got to that villa.
No.
I don't know. Just because of the way she moves and the way she like talks to people in the villa, I just don't think that she really cares about anybody but herself, which I get the game that I'm watching. I understand the competition of it all, and that everyone is essentially in there for themselves and to win the game and find love or what have you.
Yeah. She's just, there's something different about her.
Yeah, she is different. I'm waiting. I'm not going to form any, crazy opinions because I feel like I do that a lot with the guys. And so far, the guys are kind of cool and they're chill. Yeah. And the girls are mostly like cool. I was really sad to see Hannah go, honestly. Yes. She really gave me Liberty Bell vibes.
I know.
Like
I did really love her.
Yeah, she kind of kept everything like cohesive in a way because she was really comedic and like just there for funsies. And I appreciate that in a person because everyone else kind of seems to take themselves really seriously.
They're for funsies, but also like she did state several times she's there to find her person. Did she make a couple mistakes? Yeah. Girl, you had to apologize to this man with a breakfast dinner. Breakfast dinner.
I'm like, wait, did she give him breakfast for dinner?
No.
I love breakfast for dinner.
A breakfast apology.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and in a challenge, which I get it. It's a challenge. But in a challenge, you're going to go and kiss the same person that you just apologized to Kendall for having
it's
a situationship with.
It's what we call a silly goose move.
It was a very silly goose move, girl, but I love you.
It's like the guy didn't he doesn't fuck with you like that. Hakeem was not about.
That's a whole different. I don't like Hakeem. I don't.
No. He's kind of full of himself, huh? A little bit.
I don't like the way that he speaks to women. I don't like the way he spoke to Liv. I don't like the way that he spoke to Hannah.
Yeah, that's
And the
true.
only reason he got with Janae is because I felt like he knew his ass was on the line.
Yeah.
And she was the only one left.
And he just used the fact that they had a good kiss, which literally means nothing.
Yeah.
I could have a good kiss with anybody if I'm a good kisser.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Janae's hot as fuck. Like, she's going to have a good kiss with anybody. Do you see her?
Exactly. Everyone rated her really high on her kiss when it was the guy's turn.
Yeah.
So I think that he used that to his advantage, but Janae is not dumb. Also a Sag. Janae's in there for the long haul.
She is.
So I think that she's well aware of what the situation is. And now that she's single, I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. She may try to chat up Miguel a little bit more, even though Miguel chose Nicole.
I know.
I'm wondering.
I hope by the time this episode comes out, a lot's going to transpire.
I'm sure of it.
But I really hope that they just bring in a fine bombshell just for Janae. Her type to a T. Somebody who went to the producers and was like, I like Janae and Janae only. Like, I want somebody who's like there specifically for her. Like, don't chat. I mean, sure, chat to the other girls. But I don't know.
Should they bring back Coy?
No. No.
Period.
I am now expounding on that.
No.
We haven't had on train.
We did because we were explaining why we got into the gaslighting topic to begin with.
Of it all.
So,
because we were talking about Liv. Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about Liv. Yes, because she kind of interfered with Rob and Leah at the very beginnings, and based on Rob's reaction then and his interaction with Liv, we thought that he was going to be a good egg, but it just turns out he wasn't physically attracted to Liv, which is totally fine.
Right.
And the fact that he is physically attracted and has a lot of sexual attention with Andrea, also totally fine. If they have a deeper emotional connection that they're wanting to explore, totally fine. The issue was not that he was interested in getting to know the new bombshell. The issue was that after the date, Leah confronted him about him essentially spending the entire afternoon and evening with her, Andrea, up in Soul Ties, and not really giving Leah a lot of information about how the date went. But she basically put two and two together and was like, oh, well, you're going to spend all this time with Andrea.
Which he promised to do.
Yep.
He promised to tell her.
You will always know where I stand.
Right.
You'll always know how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Fucking shit.
Yeah. So she storms up there per Liv's advice, which I'm like, you probably should have told her to take a couple breaths first and like.
Yeah, but Liv is a person to do the same thing.
Right. Yeah. But I'm trying to be objective, and from the beginning, I was trying to be very objective about this entire situation. Because at the end of the day, this is a produced reality show. Yes. And I am just a viewer and I don't know these people personally.
Right.
But I was trying the whole time to see both people's sides. Leah did go up there very hot and heavy. Leah also has a tendency to be kind of immature about things.
Agreed. She's 24.
But I live. She went up there and she goes, "Hi, lovebirds." I was like, yes, girl.
I know. She's like, I need to talk to you. And he's, me? And she's like, no, her. Yes, you stupid.
Why would I need to talk to her?
Why would I need to talk to her? I don't know her. I'm in a couple with you.
Idiot.
Freaking dodo bird.
God. Yeah. He immediately looked like a deer in the headlights. He was like, uh-oh.
He was shocked and appalled.
I have been caught.
Yeah.
Which is what gaslighters, and this is another thing. I want to make a point of separating a narcissist and gaslighting. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, well, narcissists do gaslight. It's one of their tactics. I'm not trying to sit here and call Rob a narcissist because I can't diagnose him. Everybody, not everyone, a lot of people, a lot of us can have narcissistic tendencies.
Sure.
And I think that Rob does. I don't want to sit up here on this pedestal and say that Rob's a narcissist.
Right.
But when you do confront narcissists, they react the way that Rob did. Mm-hmm. And they get backed into the corner.
He deflected. He shifted blame.
Oh, yeah. And he had the emotional
manipulation. Yep.
performance of a lifetime. I've never seen something like that on a reality TV show, and I've watched a lot of reality TV.
A lot of Love Island, too, in particular. No one has gone to the length that man went to put on the show that he put on. And you could tell that it was a show because you really couldn't tell what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
You really couldn't tell where the truth was.
Talking in circles, my guy.
A lot of that. And it was like he started to say something and he would stop mid-sentence of his own sentence.
Yeah.
And then just say what Leah did wrong.
Right.
Or, you're a great person, but you're just not the person for me. And she's like, what?
Yeah. Spent all this time.
So confusing.
Yeah.
But that's on purpose, dude. It's on purpose. It's literally how people who gaslight other people act and behave so that the other person starts to feel like, oh shit, it's me.
Right.
I am the issue. I'm the reason why this person is crying in front of me right now.
Right.
I'm the reason why this person needs to take a minute. I'm the reason for XYZ. Fill in the blank, right?
Right.
Because that's how they're behaving, even though they were not ever honest with you from the jump.
Right. She goes up there with the intention of telling him her feelings, and he spins the entire situation so that everybody feels bad about him.
Yep.
Both Leah and the cameras in all of America. I think that he's very aware
100%.
of that. Because if he thought, oh, I'm just talking to Leah, it would have gone very differently. I think that he knew he was being filmed, and I think that it amplified things even more.
Yeah. The pacing of it all, the undressing of it all, the pencil dive into the pool of it all.
Yeah.
I was beside myself.
He sits here, and this is too is like something I wanted to note, because I think that gaslighters do this too very well. They build you up so that you feel like, oh, well, they do like me. Well, they're not trying to be mean to me. They're not trying to attack me. He spent all this time, you're so sexy, Leah. You're like the sexiest woman ever. I like you. I really like you. Like a lot.
I really like you. I think you're like the most beautiful girl in the world. Shut the fuck up. Like, shut up.
And then said something like, oh, I think you're sexy as hell. Like, we just like haven't had our, like found our groove yet. I'm like, my guy, you literally have not taken your hands off of her this entire time until you went on a date with Andrea.
You were coupled up with Liv against your ever-loving will, which you made it a point to say, I didn't want this. I didn't want this to happen, and I'm so confused, and I just want to be back in my couple with Leah, and blah blah blah. That whole time where you made up this cute, coy little sign to take her by the dock in secret and kiss her. You guys made out every single effing night. Leah's hot as fuck. Are you kidding me with that shit? That comment was the nail in the coffin for me. At that point in time, I'm like, oh, this guy's bullshitting.
Yeah.
This guy's bullshitting, because it was a misalignment between actions and what he was saying in that moment. You mean to tell me that for the last motherfucking 5 days of you making out with Leah every single night in your little full-size bed, your little full-size bed.
Right. Do you think it's a full-size bed or is it a queen? Full-size is small. Like, I have a full-size bed. And I take up all of it.
There's 8 beds in that bitch.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
There's no way there's 8 queens in there. That would be a huge, huge room.
I think it is a huge, huge room.
You think they're queens?
Girl, I have a full, and I'm 5 foot tall, and I like
fulls are small.
Yeah.
Full is just like a barely extended twin. Barely.
Yeah.
I
think that they might be all queens. I think that room is fucking giant. I think that's a huge ass room.
I need the dimensions stat.
Hello, Love Island producers, can you please let me know?
Y'all, okay, side note, we do have to share that they did view our story, did they not?
Yeah.
Love Island USA viewed our story, and it was crickets, and we feel like our feelings are hurt. Do you not know that we're a feelings podcast?
We are. Yeah, and the fact that I literally reached out and was like, hey girl, whoever's doing your social needs a raise. Money emoji, clapping emoji. Like, I really was like, and I meant that shit. I wasn't just saying that because I wanted you to send me water bottles.
We do want the water bottles still, though.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But
what we were saying.
Yeah. I think she was poking holes in what he was saying, because he said, I don't think you're my person. I don't know if you're my person. And she reiterates that back to him. And he goes, I didn't say that. I said, I don't know. And I'm like, bitch. And that's kind of when he like had to find an excuse.
Yeah.
Of, oh, well, I'm just not sexually attracted to you.
Yeah. It's like he kept getting caught in lie after lie, or even if it wasn't a lie, what I just said, a misalignment between words and actions, because Leah was like, well, I'm just confused. Leah was expressing her true feelings, and Rob was gaslighting Leah into thinking that she was the problem for whatever he was feeling in that moment. Because it's in the same sentence which this will never leave my brain, in the same sentence where he said, you just cut me off a lot. You just cut me off a lot. And like, you just don't even let me talk. And like, aren't you going to ask me how I'm feeling? To say that, he cut her off.
Yeah.
He cut her off mid-sentence to tell her that she cuts him off. And I'm like, oh my God.
It hurts
like,
my feelings because I don't talk a lot. Huh?
Like, but you never shut up. That's crazy.
You've been talking this whole time.
That's crazy. I feel like Leah. I want to. Okay, so Leah is iconic. First of all, I just love a natural babe. If you are into makeup and you're a Hannah, I love you for it.
Yeah.
Hannah goes all in. She's baking to the gods.
Yeah.
I love it. But Leah kind of always shows up as authentically like herself and not giving a fuck. And the way that her faces always show her emotions. I want to get all the... There's that really popular stylish shirt where it's just like heads and faces.
Can we please? Oh my God.
And just all the different faces that she's made when Rob has said or done something really fucking dumb.
Her eyes.
Where she goes...
or when her eyes get really big.
She's like, oh my God, that's crazy. That's crazy. I love the Leah voice.
Yeah.
I really hope that she doesn't unravel in these next couple of days.
I think she might.
Yeah, she's kind of heading toward that way.
Yeah.
And if she needs a moment, she needs a moment.
Yeah.
She might need to have a pencil dive into the pool herself.
That is a pressure cooker situation.
Yeah.
You're around. I don't think I could go on Love Island purely for the fact that I'm somebody who needs my alone time. If I'm around 15 other motherfuckers for 90 days or however long they're there.
6 weeks or something.
I will lose it. Yeah. I can't do that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And you can't really, like, when you're in a game show and you're like, the whole point is that you need to get to know people.
Yeah.
I can't just go take a nap in the middle of the afternoon when everybody's like pulling each other for chats. Like, I need to be out there.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
It's like you're like in a constant heightened emotional state every single day for 6 weeks straight. Even the day off doesn't really count because you're still interacting with those people regardless of if they're filming or not.
And they, in one of the podcasts, I don't remember her name. I think she won the first season. Oh, Elizabeth. Her name's Elizabeth. She talks about how they don't allow you to talk about anything that happened during filming. So you have to just like talk about random shooting the shit. You can't. So say Rob and Leah had that argument on a Friday. If they don't film on Saturday, they're not allowed to talk about it that entire next day.
Interesting.
Until Sunday when they film again. Or whatever their filming schedule is. But they aren't allowed to talk about anything that happened on the show. They have to just get on like nothing happened the day before, or just not talk to each other for an entire day.
Right.
Can you imagine?
What if, because you can't really control people's emotions. So what happens if, I guess not really a question for you, but more like for the producers.
Right.
What happens if there is an argument that erupts on a day that they're not filming? Do they just turn the cameras on?
I think that there's somebody there babysitting and like making sure that they're not.
Interesting.
Or something. No, because the camera people are off. Yeah. Legally, you have to give people time off.
Yeah.
So the camera guys just aren't there.
Yeah. But they have I'm not going to call them hidden because they're not hidden at all.
Right.
But they're like the mounted cameras.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. But
right. I didn't think you would. Yeah. But it is something I'm curious about.
Right.
Because you're still having to interact with these people. And if someone says something to you the wrong way, are you just going to not talk about it because it's a Saturday and you're not filming for the show?
Right.
So we understand that there's definitely some nuances to the behavior that's being exhibited. We understand that they understand that it's being filmed, and that's probably impacting how they react to certain things. Maybe in real life they don't react so big. Right. We definitely acknowledge that part. Still studying it, and it's sparking this conversation of what it's like to gaslight someone, or what it feels like to be on the other end of it. Yeah. Is something that we were both sat there on the couch shocked We had no idea what to think.
Jaw
because, like
on the floor.
We had just talked him up for a solid 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Hours before.
And we saw in the preview that he was crying. We're like, oh, Rob, what happened to Rob? Can we just talk about...
Rob happened to Rob.
Can we get into the fact that I think we've talked about it a little bit, and I'll let you share your feelings. I don't want to talk for you. I was so triggered, but I didn't even realize it until after. Not that I sided with Rob. I really, the whole time, was trying to be so objective. I wasn't necessarily siding with Rob, but I thought that there were things that they both didn't do well. But I wasn't really picking it up that first time that we watched it. I could tell that crazy shit was happening, but I wasn't really picking up like the gaslighting until after. And then I felt so triggered for the next 2 days. I could not stop thinking about it. And then I just felt this wave of sadness for Leah, because I know what it's like to be that person, especially when you're dating somebody and you want to believe the best of them, and you like want to make them happy, and you want to get along, and you want to be in this loving, healthy relationship, and you feel like no matter what you're doing, they're making you feel crazy. And you're like, well, no, I was just trying to say how I felt, and somehow this all turned back around on me, that it's my fault. And that's such a dehumanizing feeling, and it really triggered me to the point of getting emotional and getting a little bit like obsessive. Like I said, I couldn't stop thinking about what happened.
Probably because it triggered a part of your brain that maybe went dormant because you aren't necessarily involved with the person or persons that exhibited those behaviors onto you previously or in your past relationships.
Right.
So it's like you didn't really know that it was happening when you were watching it on the screen.
Yeah.
But then after thinking back, because you knew that it bothered you, but you didn't know why.
Yeah.
You were confused by it, but you were like, well, wait, I don't get why I'm confused by this. It's a TV show. I don't understand. It's because of the way that his behavior progressively got worse to the point where everything that went on became Leah's fault. Yeah. The fact that he was attracted to Andrea more than he was to Leah was Leah's fault.
Right. And then the next day, why didn't you come to bed?
The next day conversation was crazy.
Oh, what?
The next day conversation was fucking nuts. I wouldn't necessarily say that experience or that scene itself triggered me. I think I knew what the fuck was up.
Okay.
I knew from the beginning because of the way that his face looked when Leah walked upstairs and they were both in soul ties together for hours on end after being on a date for hours on end, and you didn't even give her the decency. I'm like, by that action alone, I already kind of knew what was going to unfold. I'm like, he's going to be confronted about his behavior because Leah is not a quiet bitch. Right. And not going to just let things go, just sweep under the rug. Fire signs don't let that shit go.
We don't.
Sorry. Like, my sun is Earth, but I swear to God, I'm telling you, my 100,000 other planets are in Sagittarius. At my core, I am a lot more fiery than what a Capricorn would normally exhibit.
Right. You just present very calm. Not that you're not a calm person, but you will let a bitch know.
If I have to.
Right?
And Leah had to.
Yes.
Leah was pushed into the corner so much where she was like, I'm going to let them have their time.
Right.
Until it got to the level of disrespect that it got.
Very apparent that something's going on here.
At what time are you going to speak to me? It's getting late into the evening. And if I didn't come up here, how much longer would you be up here with Andrea? Honestly.
Right. You promised me you would be honest and upfront with me, but you've been talking to this other girl all goddamn day.
Yeah, for 6 hours.
And then you're yet telling me that I'm still number one. He said something on the roof too, that I'm still interested in you, or like this is still a thing.
It's still very real. I still want to be in a couple with you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and I'm like,
what?
Why? Your behaviors are showing so the opposite, my guy.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like you can't be upfront. Then it's lie after lie after lie. Then you can't even really keep up with it.
No.
So then you start to feel uncomfortable with how many lies you've stacked on top of each other. And so someone confronts you about it and you're like, well, I didn't say that. It's like they're picking apart your words. They're picking apart your sentences. They're asking you to like give examples of, well, when did I do that? Or when did I say that?
And in the moment, you're just so, your reality is getting warped that you're like, I can't give you a fucking example, but I know it happened.
Yeah. Because I can't provide you with a real time, real life example then that all of a sudden means that you're allowed and have the space to invalidate my feelings and my experience.
Right.
Which is exactly what was happening to Leah.
You stunned me. You put me on the spot. So how am I supposed to think of anything right here in the moment?
Yeah.
I came into this conversation thinking we're going to have a civilized conversation where I'm going to tell you how I feel, and then we're going to figure out how to move forward.
Yeah. The next day conversation was probably more triggering.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's the whole acting like it wasn't that big of a deal.
Oh, he did do that.
Yep. It was the whole nonchalantness of it all.
He had this explosion.
Well, like, yeah, I just had like an emotional moment, which I like don't normally have. But like, you're just like so cool about stuff. He told her that. He's like, you're just so cool about stuff. Like,
that was
I just
crazy.
don't understand like why you didn't come to bed. Like, I didn't think it warranted that. And like, back to his like calm, cool, collected self.
It was a switch. It was such a switch.
It was a switch, and it was an intentional switch to make her feel that what she had experienced the night before wasn't as severe as it actually was.
Right. Or that severity and that explosion was because of her. Mm-hmm. Because look, now I'm just sitting here on the couch as like super chill, super understanding guy. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was the next day conversation that I think got to me more than his emotional outburst, because I think the whole time I knew that the emotional outburst was to elicit a response from either the villa or America or Leah or all three.
Right. I think all three.
Yeah, because
I think he's way more calculated than we originally gave him credit for.
Oh, yeah. You have to understand, like, when people are very good at gaslighting other people and manipulating other people, you don't think that they've thought through every motherfucking scenario that could possibly happen and have already thought up a response or how they're going to react.
He had all goddamn day. He primed her. So earlier in the day, he had said, you're just like so cool, right? Like, you're just like so cool about it. This is before the explosion. Mm-hmm. I think before he went on a date with her. Right? Yes, because he didn't speak to her after the date. Before they went on a date.
Right.
He was already priming her of like, you're just like so cool. Like, that's just why I like you so much. You're just like so cool.
You're just like so cool about it.
You just like don't really care. Like, you're just like such a cool girl.
He spoke on her behalf. Literally did not even let Leah get a word in. Leah was like, well, yeah, I guess if that's how you want me to be. And Leah is insecure. So it ties all together, because when you are basically a professional gaslighter and you've kind of been doing it your whole life as a defense mechanism, as a way of dealing with your own traumas and protecting yourself from being hurt. Let's get into it, child. Guess what? You're going to seek out the insecure person like Leah, who is not completely confident in herself, even though she might present that way because she's a very beautiful girl.
Yeah.
But she even said in these last couple episodes, something's wrong with me internally.
Yeah. Because I'm addicted to toxicity.
Because I'm addicted to toxicity, and I want a man to bring so much drama in my life that I feel like I'm going to have to go into the psych ward.
I was like, what?
Leah, that's crazy, girl.
And she knows it. That's why I'm like, okay, at least she knows that's so crazy. But I was like, damn.
Yeah. To be that, it's like to your own detriment to be that self-aware and you don't have the tools to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Girl, you can acknowledge that you're that insecure. You can acknowledge that you are having these issues and you have these feelings about wanting to attract toxic people into your life. Not even in romantic relationships, but probably platonic too. Who knows what her friendships look like?
Right.
They will seek that shit out. They can spot you from a mile away. Rob saw Leah and he was like, really cute girl. She looks impressionable. She looks malleable.
Right. And you notice
I can work with this.
He also would tell her a lot, you're like really smart. Mm-hmm. If you truly believe that someone's really smart, yeah, you can say that as a compliment. Like, wow, you're really intelligent. Mm-hmm. You don't need to repeat multiple times to somebody who you believe to be smart and tell them that they're smart. If you know that they truly believe they're smart, you don't need to tell them multiple times.
Yeah.
He told her a lot of times, you're just like really smart.
Mm-hmm. It's called love bombing. You guys, don't get me into it. Don't make me sing. Don't make me sing.
Don't make me do it.
Don't make me do it. I don't want to get into that part of it because then it's like
that's a whole different episode.
One behavior after another behavior after another behavior. 1 + 1 = narcissist. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to do that.
Right.
I am not a mental health professional. I can detect a behavior and say that kind of aligns with this.
Right.
But I'm not here to call anybody anything. So I will leave it at that. But that is what that is constantly having to tell like, oh my gosh, like your eyes and like you're just so beautiful. Like I've never seen, and it's grandiose. I've never seen anyone as intelligent as you are. Like you got brains and beauty. And, and constant.
And was he not grandiose? Remember what was that? The second episode where he takes her down to the dock? It was like a fucking movie scene. The way that they, like, I felt like I was watching The Notebook. I'm like, what is this? And that, again, is what sent all of America into a tailspin. Because everyone's like, I want a guy like Rob.
Yeah. We're here for the romance.
Yeah. But now I'm looking at it. I'm like, that was complete love bombing.
Yeah.
The way that was just so grand and over the top from the beginning. That was their first kiss. I would be like head over heels for a guy that did that for me too. Right. I understand why Leah is having a hard time letting it go.
I 100,000% understand Leah's position. Leah's 24. Frontal lobe missing.
Yeah.
We got missing parts. The SpongeBobs are running around up there. They don't know what's going on. The files are on fire.
Right.
We're not yet into our own. That's why I feel like if there's going to be a cutoff on age, can it please be 25 and up? These little 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds, I feel really bad for them because you never know what person they're going to get paired up with or coupled up with.
Same with Kaylor.
That could be, I mean, I'm not sure about Aaron, like he's chilling, but I just don't think that you are mentally prepared for that kind of mental and emotional up and down of it all.
Right.
You haven't lived enough cycles in life.
It feeds into this entire, and this is how I feel. I don't necessarily feel this way about Love Island. I feel this way about The Bachelor because what is the majority of The Bachelor's viewers? Conservative, religious, middle America, like middle white America. Yeah. That's who, and I'm just saying as fact. I'm not judging. That is who watches The Bachelor. Yes. And it's feeding into this idea of it's perfectly acceptable and expected of you to be looking for a husband when you're 21. No. Girl. Times have changed. Even go watch Bridgerton. These girls that were like 16, 17 getting married and just forced to be pumping out babies, like a lot of times they weren't happy. They had to do that for survival. We don't need to do that anymore.
And that's a privilege.
It is a privilege. We've talked about that.
Yes, we will point out privilege anytime we get a chance. Yeah. I am really at a point where I don't want to water down my privilege at all. Right. I'm trying to highlight it to better understand my life, how I got here, how I act, how I behave, how I interact with others in the world. That's part of life. Yeah. So to just completely dismiss privilege is crazy. I saw TikTok today that was like, girl, do you understand we have a privilege. We're in a space now where we have access to so many things that generations of women before us did not have access to. Yeah. Like something as simple as a goddamn education. Yeah. Which sounds crazy, but when you think about it, education does breed survival on your own. Yeah. I do not need anybody but myself to support myself. Yeah. So
I put this in the notes today as a topic episode of like how the role of women in relationships has changed. Because we've had, and even besides that, we've had conversations before where I'm trying to reframe I'm still single and I would love to be in a partnership, but I'm trying to look at it as, wow, generational trauma. The past women in my family and just women in general didn't have the privilege. My ancestors and the women who came before me were in situations where they were not being taken care of. They were being abused. They were being manipulated. But because of where society was at the time, they couldn't leave. They didn't have a choice. I'm so grateful that I have the choice, that I'm able to, am I like absolutely thriving and like living in a penthouse apartment and making all of this money and like whatever? No, I'm not there yet. But I'm just saying I can fully function as an adult in this world and not need a man to provide for me or speak for me.
Yeah. It's like that saying, it gets recycled a lot. So sometimes when sayings and cliches get recycled a lot, they tend to lose their weight. But being your ancestors' wildest dream.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, oh, you hear it all the time. Oh, I'm my ancestors' wildest dream. Okay, whatever. It's actually does hit heavy because it's true no matter if you personally feel like it's something minimal or if you feel like it is something big, where I have a 6-figure, 7-figure business and I built it on my own and I didn't need anyone to get there and whatever the reason, or you're just treating people around you differently or you are parenting differently. It doesn't matter.
Right.
These are the decisions and the choices that we're able to make now because of privilege that our ancestors were never able to make, and that's what makes it their dream.
Yeah.
Is no matter how small the change, it's a change.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate sayings like that, even though they're kind of tossed around a lot.
But that one's very true.
100%.
In my case and in your cases too.
Yes, like, definitely.
The women in my family just did not have the choices that I have. And I have to recognize that and the fact that that's a privilege.
100%.
Period. Where are we?
I know. Hey, we gave a disclaimer. Chatty Cathy's.
We are feeling very chatty today. How do you decipher between someone having an emotional experience and someone who is using their emotions to manipulate you? Because like I was saying, I didn't catch the gaslighting the first time that I watched. So like for our feelers who are listening, who are like, well, like, how do I know the difference between, I at first thought that Rob was just an unhealed person who didn't know how to deal with his emotions. So he was having this big reaction. I also was like, oh, he's a Taurus man. I have a lot of Tauruses in my life. This is how this is what they do.
Yeah.
So he's not a Taurus.
Yeah.
And it turns out, but it's like, I at first was just like, oh, like he's a guy who doesn't know what emotions are.
Right.
How do you decipher between that and somebody who we have identified him as is very calculated in their moves?
Right. I suppose from an earth sign perspective, since he still is an earth sign, bottling up your emotions and then them exploding at a later date can be common. But I don't think that it's a justification or an excuse for his behavior and how he treated or spoke to Leah.
Right. Like the whole Rob of it all. I really, at first, was trying to see his side, and I really thought that maybe he just doesn't know how to deal with his emotions. And I always, that's the thing. Let's talk about the empathy of it all, is that as an empath, I really was trying to give him a chance, and I really was trying to see his side of things. And then I really looked at it and I'm like, but he wasn't trying to see Leah's side of things at all.
Right. That's it.
He didn't even let her speak. He didn't even let her fully get out what she was trying to say.
That's it.
That's how you know. Feelers, that's how you know.
You just said it.
Yeah.
Because it can be difficult.
Yeah.
It can be difficult, especially when you're in the heat of the moment and you don't really know what's happening in general. You don't really know what's going to happen. You're just reacting in real time to what's being said to you or what's being done to you.
Right.
Then you're like, okay, well, is this person having an emotional reaction? And do I need to console them in this moment? Where do I belong in this space right now?
Right.
Rob is crying his eyes out. Right?
Yeah.
Or
which I'm not laughing at men having emotions.
I need men to have more emotions so they don't do that.
Yeah.
I need men to have regular emotions so they don't do that. Pencil dive into the pool for no reason and hide under the deck.
Yeah.
Leah was right. She hit the nail on the head when she was like the drama of it all, the theatrics. Someone who's having a real emotional reaction does not need to do all those things because they are truly sitting in their emotions. They can sit there on the couch across from the other person that they want to speak with and have their emotions without walking away and stonewalling or saying, I need a second, and then come back like literally half a second later after taking off your clothes and doing all these like different things that
working yourself up in the corner. He was trying to produce tears. At first I'm like, oh, he's sobbing. I'm like, no, he's trying to get himself to sob.
Yeah. Okay. He was at a level where he was like, okay, I could turn this up.
He had no other way. He knew he had no other way out.
Right. And Leah is over here. Well, I'm trying to practice empathy for you. But the reason I came up here was because you've been up here with Andrea for 6 hours. And I'm trying to understand where we are as a couple. Because you, at the very least, owe me a conversation.
Right.
That you said you were going to have with me. So I'm holding you accountable.
Right. So I think in that situation, you have a mini check-in with yourself and you say, is this person making me feel heard? Is this person making me feel seen? Is this person making me feel safe? Mm-hmm. And if you're answering no to at least more than one.
Yeah.
I would
Honestly,
say,
just the one.
Yeah?
Just one. Because it's those 3 things interlace. They all have to do with one another.
Yeah.
So the fact that she got interrupted so frequently, if you're having a conversation or you're in a conflict with someone and you're trying to hash out something that feels uncomfortable, or a really good example was from where Janae had brought eggs to the new bombshell guy, Miguel, during him and Serena's Egg Gate 2024. While him and Serena were having a conversation and Serena felt very, very upset by it.
That was crazy. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say, I fully back Janae, not just because she's a black woman and because I think she's incredible. That was crazy. She told the man she'd make him eggs. What was she supposed to do? Let the eggs get cold? And then eventually throw them away because he wasn't going to eat them? No. If you make somebody food, you're going to go take them the food. She wasn't trying to interrupt. She wasn't trying to pull a bachelor. Oh, can I steal him? No, she was dropping off the food.
I think that's what she meant by the whole culture of it all.
Yeah.
Since she did live in Hawaii for a long time.
Yeah.
I get that. It's like I had plans to make him eggs. Someone else actually pulled him for a chat while I was having a chat with him. And I was like, okay, no problem. I'll take this time to talk with Hakeem and make him some eggs.
Make your fucking eggs.
Serena was not clued in on any of that.
Right.
Serena was blindsided. Serena did have a little bit of, I'm not going to call it an overreaction because that's not fair, because Serena's feelings are valid. And I think Serena started to feel a little bit nervous about not knowing where she was with Cordell. I still am not sure how she feels about Cordell.
That's the thing that was weird to me, is like, if you don't even like the guy and you're still saying that you're interested in Hakeem, why are you so mad that Janae brought him eggs? I don't know if
she felt like it was the principle of it all, but I digress. So. It's not so much why Serena got upset. It's how they had the conversation after.
Yeah.
Serena said, Janae, girl, I'm upset. I felt like that was like, I would never do that. And Janae was like, you know what? That's normal for me to do that because someone said that they were hungry. He probably hadn't eaten all day. Yeah. And I also am a woman of my word. And I said I was going to make him 3 eggs and I wanted to bring him the eggs.
Queen.
However,
she's like, not only am I going to make you an egg over easy, I'm going to make you an omelet and make you scrambled.
Exactly.
I was like, queen.
Yeah. And she made it was a sunny side up.
Yeah.
Sunny side up. To get that yolk like just right. Girl, talk about fried egg queen. Anyway, we can get into it. But what I want the actual takeaway to be from their conversation and the difference between those two ladies and how Rob and Leah's conversations have gone so far is the listening that took place. Serena is expressing her feelings. She said, hey, this is what you did. This is how I felt about it. Regardless of what you're used to, it rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Janae said, you know what, girl? I get it. I was doing what feels normal to me, but I didn't stop to think about how you would think about it. That's what Janae said. I didn't stop to think about how you would think about it. Boom.
Right.
That's how simple it is.
I was so proud of them.
To validate someone's feelings and move past a conflict.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be pencil diving and taking your tank top off, okay? It doesn't have to be that. That's how you know. When a small conflict turns into a huge, heated argument and it's talking in circles and it's this back and forth, you did this, I didn't do that, you said this, well, I didn't say that way. It's picking apart and you feeling invalidated. Yeah. No, nothing about it made sense.
We were saying it sitting there watching it. We're like, wait, what he's saying is actually making 0 sense.
nothing that came out of his mouth when he was crying made any logical sense whatsoever. He was backed into a corner. He was confronted. He felt uncomfortable because his lies caught up with him. And guess what? He was like, I'm not man enough or mature enough or developed enough to take accountability for anything I've done in the last 8 hours. And so what I'm going to do is make Leah feel like this is her fault anyway. This was inevitable because we just didn't even really have like that much of like a sexual groove. Whatever the fuck that means, bitch.
Right. I know. He did at the beginning say something to the sort of, before he started crying, something of, she said, yeah, I did that and that wasn't cool and I apologize. So that's even too where I was like, okay, he's trying to be logical with it. It was something to the effect of, yeah, I shouldn't have just come in here. Oh, he said, I realized that I spent all my time up here in Soul Ties. That was a long time and I should have left sooner. Which also made me feel like he wasn't fucking crazy. I was like, okay. He owned up to that. Mm-hmm. Breadcrumbing.
Took the words out of my mouth. Took the words out of my mouth. They give you exactly what you need to feel comfortable and that you can trust them.
Yep.
It is.
I had too much trust.
It is.
And Snake Boy Rob.
Calculated to a sick level, y'all.
Yeah.
That's why it's like we're barely touching the surface. The way that like we could definitely get an expert on this.
Yeah.
Yes. We talked about Dr. Orna Goralnik, who is the therapist on couples therapy, which is, I don't know if it's a limited series or it's a series on Showtime.
Yeah.
And there are lots of clips circulating on TikTok. We live in a day and age where you can literally define someone's behavior just by going onto a social media app. And I think that's very special. And I just want to throw that out there.
Thank God for that.
Because then it does make people feel like, oh, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of people that do this. And personality disorders are the #1 undiagnosed mental health disorder in the United States. Period.
Let them know.
I will. Because no one with the personality disorder thinks that anything is wrong with them. And I think they go through life perfectly. And they think they treat everyone in their relationships perfectly. So they're not going to go see a therapist. They don't need therapy for what? Girl, we could get into that, but we're not.
Yeah.
So even Dr. Orna, therapists have therapists. Let's just throw that out there.
Yeah.
Like not every therapist is going to be like, I'm healed. I'm perfect. I'm good to go. Especially with having the clients that you have. So she, in essence, and this clip that we're going to link in the show notes, because it's really, really telling of how it happens and how sneaky it is, y'all. It is so sneaky.
Really? I thought that was unsneaky. Compared to Rob's situation, I felt like that was very... maybe because I'm looking for it. Uh-huh. It was very... What did he say? That was just very instantly telling. Something about, I'm thinking about myself and my happiness.
He said, I live for my happiness.
Yeah, I was like, he don't care about you, boo.
Yeah.
There's no need for couples therapy.
Yeah.
You go be free.
It's not so much that you could tell, he's gaslighting somebody. It's that the selfishness is just very outward.
Yeah.
So he might be on a spectrum. So no matter what personality disorder you are diagnosed with or undiagnosed with, you're always going to be on a spectrum.
Yeah.
As with anything, and that makes sense because life happens differently to different people and traumas are different for different people. So a spectrum makes sense. But yeah, even the therapist was talking to her therapist and she was like, I just felt like he was gaslighting me. and
gaslighting the therapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to tell, and you can tell how confused she is in the actual session when she's listening to this couple.
Yeah.
He's talking about how it's the picking apart of it all. So he's talking to the therapist and his wife, basically, about how, well, I didn't cheat because it wasn't in the same state.
Girl.
I didn't cheat. I stepped out. I didn't have an affair. I stepped out. So picking apart the semantics is a really, really clear indication. They take one minute detail and they will spin that shit. I didn't say it that way. I didn't say that. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So I fucking used a synonym. Sorry.
Right.
But it's the same shit. It has the same definition, it has the same meaning. And guess what? Regardless if you said this or if you said that, my feeling about it is the same.
Yeah.
So the second they twist it, that is how you know. That's how you decipher.
Pay attention to the language that they're using. That's a huge indicator.
Words have immense power. And if they try to make you feel like they don't, and it's just, oh, it's all about actions, all about what I do, not what I say. Nope. Nope.
Because they're justifying the fact that their actions and their words don't line up. They're telling on themselves.
Yeah, literally. And it happens a lot.
Yeah. So
you just, make yourself aware.
Yeah. If their actions don't tell on them, their words will tell on them.
Yeah. But then when their words tell on them, they're like, well, that's not really what I said, or that's not the word that I used.
That's not what I meant.
That's not what I meant.
I'm sorry that you got hurt by that, but
those are just your feelings about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing I can do about your feelings.
The Robification of it all. Showing up the next day being all calm, cool, collected like a cucumber. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just don't think. I think that this is the end of this conversation. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because she's on to you and she's done with you. Yeah. She's like, good, I don't want to talk to you.
I just feel bad because I know that behind that exterior is a soft version of Leah that's actually very, very hurt and bothered and low-key traumatized by his behavior and how he's been acting this whole time. And she's just trying to keep it together because she has no other choice. She's in fight or flight right now, y'all. It is insane. And you have no idea how quickly you will get into fight or flight for survival. You don't even know it's happening to you until you have a moment after the fact. Right. You're like, what the fuck was that? Yeah. Where you have to slow down. Yeah. So I think after she gets out of the villa, she's
while I do recognize her immaturity, I do also applaud the fact that she is conscious of how she is and how she acts, because she sat up in the dressing room with all the girls in the makeup room. She's like, oh, you have not seen crazy. Mm-hmm. You have not seen Leah. If you think that you knew me before, watch out. Mm-hmm. I am so calm and I am so understanding and I am so patient, but you do not, like, when you piss me off, you're going to piss me off. Yeah. To the fact where I was like, I don't like the way that you're talking to some of these people, because the way that she was like telling Janae, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's heightened. Mm-hmm. And I think that she was trying to cover her hurt. Mm-hmm. That's a defense mechanism. Will make a prediction. People are saying that they think that she was never over Rob and that she was using Connor. And people are suspecting that if Rob stays in the villa, that they might get back together. I think, based on her behavior, that if he presents her the opportunity, she would do it. Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle, and I wouldn't blame her for it. Because Rob will know exactly what to do, say, how to act, how to behave, what emotions to turn on, when to turn them off, to get her right back where he had her from the beginning.
And why? Because he's charming, which is another indicator I wanted to bring up. Mm-hmm. Because I have been gaslit and I have been love bombed, and it was by somebody who was so charming that the entire time my brain was like, this is too good to be true, too good to be true. Mm-hmm. The sirens were going off and I was like, no, Christina, no one's just ever sent flowers to your work. No one's ever just wanted to pick you up and chauffeur you around everywhere. No one's ever XYZ.
It's the gestures, y'all.
Grandiose.
Yeah.
This person.
Big gestures that other people will see.
Yeah, because what happened? He sent flowers to my work, my favorite flowers, which I never told him what my favorite flowers were, that was a concern. That was concern one. I was like, is this a coincidence or what? He sent flowers to my work so that I would have to talk of him super highly to my coworkers. Because who sends peonies to someone's workplace that I didn't give you the address for? Peonies are expensive.
Yes, they are.
They're one of the most expensive flowers. Yeah. Who sends peonies to someone's workplace that you were not given the address for?
Oh my God, how did he find your address? How did he find the workplace address? Your LinkedIn?
No, you can Google.
Can just Google, because of
at the time. So now you can't find my workplace address because we don't have an office. We work from home.
Joke's on you.
At the time, if you Googled my workplace... It's right there. So he sent flowers to my work, so I had to speak highly of him to my coworkers. So he was already creating this track record of, oh, this guy's so romantic and giving you the grand gestures. On our date, mind you, we met on Hinge. I had never told him, like, people who are close to me know that, like, I love Bad Bunny. But if you're just an average person, unless you're like really scoping through, like maybe you follow me on Spotify, so you see who I'm listening to, or you like, I have one post on my grid where I went to a Bad Bunny concert. But other than that, and he didn't have social media. He claimed to not have social media, which I found out after is a lie. He took me, and I never told him that I didn't eat red meat, that I only ate chicken and fish. He took me to a seafood restaurant that was Bad Bunny themed. They played Bad Bunny music, and all of their drinks were named after a Bad Bunny song or something related to Bad Bunny. How would you know that if I didn't tell you? Several things like that would just happen, and I'd be like, I never told you that. How did you know that?
Yeah. It's giving stalker.
It's giving stalker. But what I'm trying to say is they're very charming.
Yeah.
And that should be an indicator. Not that everyone who's charming is going to be a gaslighter, but I'm just saying it's almost this out of this world. I can't believe this is true. This feels like a romance movie, right?
Yes.
That's kind of like, don't assume that they have bad intentions, but just have that just be a little bit of a trigger in your brain of, I'm just going to watch a little more.
Yeah. Just make note of it.
Yeah.
Definitely make note of it, because that is something that they use to their advantage in the future when you start to realize things, and then they will use all of the gestures that they performed before as an excuse or a justification for their poor behavior into the future.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
I did all of this for you.
Yep.
I bought you this.
Yep.
I took you here. I paid for this. We did this. And now all of a sudden you're telling me that I can't XYZ.
Right. It's like, what wasn't a problem before? It wasn't an issue. It wasn't an issue before. I don't understand. Well, you liked when I did this and you liked when I did that. But now it's, you can't even give me a second chance because of just this one little thing. And I'm like, well, it's not one instance. It's not one behavior. I've clocked a pattern.
Yeah.
And when you clock a pattern, guess what, feelers? When you clock a pattern in somebody, those are the bells.
Yeah.
Ring the alarm, Beyonce. Like, we're here. Understand it, acknowledge it, and say, ooh, learned my lesson the first time.
Right.
This is how I know what's happening. If it's another cliche, if it feels too good to be true, it is. Some things are true for a reason, girl. And I hate to break it to you. I really do. I hate to break it to myself.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to myself.
Yeah.
So
just take notes.
It's a tough lesson to learn. Do not be fooled by overly charming. And it's like, it is overt, as in obvious. It's everybody can see how charming this person is. A lot of people might comment on their energy levels or their ability to just light up a room and draw such like attention to themselves, and they're just very confident in themselves and this and this and this, and you're like, okay, well, all those things can be good qualities unless they're used to abuse somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's situational for sure, but I think that's kind of the biggest difference in deciphering between the two.
Honestly, girl, I'm just gonna be real with you and say, have a support system, go talk to a therapist, listen to podcasts, watch. We have, like we said, we're living in a time where there's so many resources available to us. Take advantage of those resources. Just educate yourself. Also, give yourself grace in the fact that, okay,
please.
I didn't know this time, but I'm going to know for the next time. And it's okay. Men know that we are romance starved, and they will take advantage of that. And so there's nothing wrong with you looking at these grandiose gestures and thinking like, oh, it's flowers, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. That's totally fine. They are things that are totally fine. It can be hard to decipher when you're somebody who just is a romantic and you just want those. We all deserve those actions, but they need to be from a pure intent. They should not be from, I'm getting something by doing this for you.
Yep.
That's how you know. What measures can we take to prevent it? Like I said, you just learn. When you know better, you do better. Do you have anything on that?
I would say pay attention to your intuition because like I've said before on previous episodes, intuition can be very quiet until you turn up its volume. So you really have to tune in to turn up the volume because it can be like the tiniest, like quietest whisper. But if you hear it, please, like listen to her and acknowledge her. You don't necessarily have to say she's right or she's wrong in that moment, but just make a mental note of it or make a physical note of it.
Yeah.
Like, girl, make your notes app your best friend, please. Or a
Take
physical
receipts.
journal. Yeah.
Please.
Like, no, really, seriously.
Really, seriously. We're not taking the piss. Please try your best to listen to that intuition because even though we're saying like meet yourself with grace, meet yourself with that forgiveness, don't blame yourself for something that somebody else did. Don't blame yourself for someone else's actions.
Yeah.
You didn't know better, but now this is a lesson. Don't let the universe send it to you again, girl, please. Because she will.
It keeps hurting worse the next time. It took me like a good two or three men.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Girl. Yeah, girl.
And that's another thing that I want to address because I know that we always make fun or make jokes about hating men. I don't hate men. You know, I really actively try to not hate men. Actually, I'm really working on trying to reframe my thoughts per my therapist request. Love you, Dr. Bo. But I don't hate men. It's just the reality of the fact that at least in the last few years, a lot of the men in my life have been disappointing. And I can't make that up.
No.
I'm not going to pretend that that's not a truth and a reality when it is.
Yeah.
I don't hate men. In fact, I have a lot of empathy for men and I can objectively see that society has not set them up well.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. But
I completely and entirely agree. I have love for everybody, the he's, she's, and the theys. And I especially have empathy and sympathy for men who were not allowed or were told that they were gay or weird or stupid for exhibiting their emotions in a healthy way, and then that turned into toxicity. It turned into abuse of other people. It turned into abandoning oneself. It turned into so many different things or manifested itself in very ugly ways. I'm there. That's the headspace that I'm in.
Yeah.
I have my experiences and I hold those close to my chest. And I will continue to do so because they are my personal life lessons. But the moments that I can share from those lessons, I feel like are very important, especially if you are whatever age viewer you are. If you've experienced that in the past, if you're in it now, I get it. And it is my hope that we can have more open-ended conversations between men and women between women, men between men. Relationships are relationships, period.
yeah.
Whether they're platonic or romantic. So I think that is my biggest takeaway of all of this is that I'm not here to shit on Robert from Love Island. I'm not here to shit on men like Robert from Love Island. What I'm here to do is understand the behavior.
Yeah.
And what I'm here to do is hold people in general accountable for doing shitty shit. The reality is like when I really, so you know when you are assessing your feelings and you have to keep asking yourself, okay, what's beneath that? So it's like maybe the top layer is annoyance and then what's underneath that? Anger. Then what's underneath that? Hurt. When I really go under all of the layers of feelings that I feel towards this, the way I felt triggered by Rob, I feel so sad for him. I feel so sad for him because he has the potential to be a great person and a great partner. Right.
But there's something, his own traumas and his own inner demons that are keeping him from doing that.
It's blockages. It's just blocks.
Yeah.
And it makes sense being from a very rural, conservative country bumpkin place. Like, where's Florence?
Alabama.
Where is
It's right
Florence?
there on the river on the bayou.
Like, girl. please. It's like he's catching snakes, alligators, and everything in between, bitch. I cannot relate. I'm a California girly through and through.
So the last thing that I was going to say is if you are having trouble deciphering if you're being gaslit, focus on facts, not feelings. When confronting a gaslighter, that's one thing we did want to talk about is, okay, you've identified that someone's gaslighting you. If you feel safe enough to confront them and let them know how you feel, focus on facts, not your feelings, because they will twist your feelings. So you need to focus on the facts of the situation that happened. They'll deny, they'll deflect, and they'll minimize the impact of their actions, escalate the situation to further undermine you. And like we said, put you in an alternate sense of reality.
Thank you. That was pumble.com. That was a very concise way to say that. And I appreciate that because it's really to the point. It's really hard in the middle of a conflict to not focus on feelings because those are the most heightened things that are happening in that moment are your emotions, right? So it's, let's say I'm having a conflict with Christina and the only thing I'm focusing on is how I'm feeling or how she's feeling versus what actually transpired.
Yeah.
So what actually transpired is the thing that we need to focus on, because if you keep bringing it back to what actually happened, then it's more difficult for them to gaslight you because you're like, no, actually, I'm not feeling it. It doesn't have anything to do with my feelings. This is the reality of the situation. You said or did this thing, and that's the only thing that I'm focused on. So either you're going to take accountability and apologize for making me feel that way, or you are not going to do those things and I'm going to have to distance myself from you because I don't deserve that treatment or behavior from you.
Yeah. Takeaway number 4, distance yourself if you feel like they are not in the space to recognize their behavior and do not respect you enough to stop doing that.
It's like, you would think I can't call it common decency because it's not common. It's human decency.
Yeah.
To give respect and demand it back.
Because not all, like we said before, not all gaslighters have a personality disorder.
No.
An everyday average person can gaslight you.
Yeah.
And I have the capability of gaslighting somebody too.
Definitely. So do I.
So not every single time you're going to come up against gaslighting is it going to be met with a negative situation where they're going to further gaslight you about gaslighting.
It may not always be met with extremes.
Yes.
Rob was extreme, but it may not always be met with that type of reaction. Yeah. It could be smaller things. It could be a lot more subtle, but just trying to recognize that. Obviously, we've educated ourselves enough and experienced enough relationships to understand when it's happening.
Yeah.
And it can be over the smallest things. Sometimes it's not even conflict. Sometimes you could bring up something and you're telling your person your truth and you're telling that person the reality of the situation, and that person is, well, are you sure it's that? And you're like, well, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's that. Like, my instinct is telling me it's that. My gut is telling me it's that. Like, the situation in and of itself is pretty obvious, and the other person just continues to diminish your reality.
Right.
So it doesn't even have to be conflict. It could be a very
confrontational situation. And another thing for our empaths, our fellow empaths, it may be a little trickier for you because you might have to ask yourself, are these my feelings or are these this other person's feelings? And that's okay, because naturally as an empath, that's something that's hard to separate. Give yourself a second. Maybe don't confront them in the moment. Decipher if it's your feelings or not, and then move forward. But I know that as an empath, it might be a little bit like I experienced with my own feelings towards Rob. It took me unplugging, spending some time, going to my room, being in my bed and being like, why do I feel so weird about this? It might take a little extra time to realize that you're being gaslit. And that's okay. Don't be down on yourself. Because I was also, then I was mad at myself for not seeing the behavior soon.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, well, Christina, you don't know this person. It's through a TV screen, which that was crazy.
Yeah.
He gaslit everybody. He literally charmed all of America through a fucking screen.
Yeah.
And we were all eating it up.
Yeah, because it can work that fast, y'all. Like, it could be that quick.
Yeah.
It could be that fast that it happens. And you're like, oh, but he's so good and he's so just aware. He's so conscious of everybody's feelings around him, specifically when they were playing the body count game, which was a stupid game to begin with. And he's like, I'd never ask a woman that question. And we're like, okay, go off, king. Like,
she could sleep with an infinity amount of people and I would just still think that it doesn't matter.
But the thing is, when they say really, really big things like that, they're telling on themselves because they actually believe the opposite. You're telling me that a 25-year-old man from Florence, Alabama doesn't have conservative views on what a woman should be doing with her body is crazy.
Which he may not.
He may not. I'm not here to make assumptions, but the fact that he said infinity, right? He doesn't mean that. He doesn't mean that. He just really doesn't.
On the opposite, look at Coy. Because Coy told on himself.
Yes.
Unskilled. He doesn't, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't. Rob knew. Rob also was on the show before. And I fully believe that he was like, okay, I went on before. I didn't last long because I didn't get chosen. How do I get more screen time? How do I stay on this ride longer? Yeah. Because let's face it, people go on reality shows in this day and age because they know that it's going to do something to benefit you. You're going to grow your platform. You're going to get brand deals. You're going to get money. It's going to change your life in some way. I think that he saw that, which he already had a lot of followers. You guys, I was watching his snake videos to fall asleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't need the promotion.
Yeah.
But, like, he knew going in. I think he was like, what do I have to do to stay in this villa longer?
Yeah.
And to get more screen time? And he did it.
Yeah.
He did it.
It really does give, I will do anything and everything, even if it means hurting people along the way to get to where I want to get to get out of a place that I want to get out of. Yeah. Right? Survival. Okay.
So,
y'all,
I think that we went through the takeaways. I hope you guys feel supported. This is an ongoing skill. It's something that we both get better at each time we encounter somebody who gaslights us. And yeah, I would love to continue the conversation on our socials at empathsanonpod. Everywhere. By everywhere, I just mean Instagram and TikTok. And if you made it to the end of the episode, comment a gas pump emoji on YouTube. Also, reminder to enter our giveaway on Instagram. You just need to follow us on Instagram, leave a 5-star rating and review. Wherever you listen to our, screenshot it, send it to us in a DM, and that's how you are entered to win.
Yes, ma'am.
There's also bonus entries if you tag people in the comments of our post.
And follow us on TikTok, is it not?
Follow us on TikTok and YouTube.
Is that a bonus entry?
Those are all bonus entries. So you have 3 chances at a bonus entry. So
nice.
You have a little extra time. This would be coming out on the 3rd.
Yes.
The 3rd is a Wednesday.
Yes, it is.
So you have until the 7th at midnight to enter. We're going to pick a winner on the 8th. And we would love to give you a empath care package.
Yep. If you don't know what the care package is or what you would be winning, we have a pinned post on our Instagram. So please go check it out.
Yep.
Because it's good stuff, you guys.
It really is. I'd want to win it.
Me too.
Literally
Do we have it? Do we have the bottle at least?
I moved it.
Okay, well, it's a cute emotional support water bottle. And you guys, you don't have to completely screw off the lid. It just pops open. The way I want to keep it for myself is crazy.
We both were looking at this like, do we keep it?
Do I keep this water bottle? Because I only have 3 and I need 4.
It's cute.
And it's got a sip spout, a gulp spout. It's really cute. It's neutral if you're a gay, they, and a gal. It's coupled with a Barnes & Noble gift card. You can get whatever you want. They sell Legos at Barnes & Noble now. You can get whatever you want at Barnes & Noble. You can get a freaking Starbucks at Barnes & Noble if you wanted to.
$20.
And of course, which is arguably the most important gift, is from a local crochet artist, Molly Ann, who is the owner of Magnolia, the flower crochet shop. And she has her own Etsy and Instagram, which are, of course, always going to be linked if you want to check it out. Cute little keychain. We'll send it in a cute package.
We also have our BIPOC creator form. So it will be linked in our show notes. It also will be in our link tree on Instagram. So enter if you are an artist who wants to be featured on our photo wall. Anything that can be hung. is what we've decided. It could be ceramics, painting, photography, literally anything. If it can be hung on a wall, you can send it to us. And we want to feature you as our artist of the month. So fill out the form. We'll reach out to you, and all will be gravy.
Gravy.
Gucci and gravy.
Gucci and gravy.
Let us pray.
Spirit, grant me the serenity to trust myself in situations that are unfamiliar.
The courage to confront somebody who invalidates me or my feelings.
And the wisdom to not read a bitch when they try me.
And so it is.
Yay.
Bye.